Hello world! Patricia O'Connor, Frida, Reba, Darcy here today on the Bonsai Balcony. In a little while there'll be a big old bonsai table there and a tree sitting on it. But right now, before I start dragging out all of that stuff, I want to do some follow-up on a few things that we've had going on lately. For starters, one of our last shows, like 2 or 3 shows ago, was watering over and under. And I've had a bit of an epiphany when it comes to this guy. And that's sort of a big deal to me because I was concerned. I was worried. When I look at this soil here, when I look at this, it looks big and rocky, really chunky. And when I rake it away, it gets really dark and wet quick looking. And I was kind of having a hard time in my mind putting it together why this rocky soil, why this big loomy stuff was taking so long whenever, and y'all seen me do this on the show. I would do this both, when I was just trying to gauge the water, and I go, that just stays so wet so long. And I would feel weird about how is it that this is managing to stay that wet that long? Is the tree just not moving any water? So one of the last things I said in regards to watering was how to be more proactive. And I mentioned that when I got done with this show, I was going to be more proactive. And by proactive, I was going to rake back a large portion of this top dressing and see what was going on. Now that was the part I was just avoiding. This is very, very compressed. This is very, very, very compressed. I can see now why this would stay so wet so long. When I was looking at this, I was looking at top dressing. And when I was looking at this, I'm looking at reality. And I don't have to rake. And where did this go? It's right here. I could not understand why this wasn't drying. And it's because it was basically top dressing, and what we have is way more. Now finally this is wet right now because it got watered. But once I uncovered this, I was uncovering it to see why it wasn't dry yet. And what I saw was obviously it wasn't dry yet. And I was looking at something that I wouldn't have expected to dry for another 2 more days just looking at it, because it wasn't the same as this. This was the top dressing for all practical purposes. So that ended up being, good and bad. That's not the best. I mean, I would probably prefer that for where I live here and the amount of water that the tree would probably, like to move along. This could be a lot chunkier, a lot bigger, a lot, could invite a lot more oxygen. But at least I'm able to look at this and understand why this was staying so wet so long. Not because this guy can't make up water, but because for all practical purposes, this is sort of maybe at this point acting like a mud ball. That's okay. Looking at this, I can let this dry out however long it takes without fear of having my tree go too long without watering. That all makes sense. And up until now, that hadn't totally made sense to me. And I probably should have raked this back before, and I would have known better what was going on. But one, it kind of scared me. It kind of scared me that it wasn't moving water, and that for whatever reason kept me from being less proactive. And 2, it overwintered at a different garden last year, so the conditions would have been different. And then during the summer, it was still moving water. So it's only lately that I was noticing that the thing just wasn't moving water, and I just wanted to know why. And we've got ugly needles now because of heat damage and because of third-year needles that are still on here and because of winter. So all of those things combined, and me being worried about our watering has led to me to just sit there and just be concerned of this to a point to where when I see something that at least makes sense to me, I'm like, okay, fine. This I can deal with. Not knowing what I was dealing with, I was finding difficult to deal with, but this I can deal with. And just seeing that and pulling out a couple of more third-year needles, and already the tree looks better to me. So that's one little follow-up. Last night at Saturday Night Live Bonsai, we did this little, I'm now a colander girl. So this is our little acquisition. We did this guy last night off camera after show. I said, yeah, the trunk had some movement in it, but it came out of the ground kind of straight. When I raked the soil away, I thought, man, it looked great right up until the point where it comes out of the ground. And I was kind of in the back of my mind going, why can't we have everything? Because we're making this root base here to die for. So off camera, I finally decided that I didn't have to put up with that. I added this wire that you see hanging up here, a piece extra, so that I can, as this grows a little bit and is a little bit less fragile, I can throw some wire to it. But I put some hellacious movement in there and gave it the good old squeeze. So we've got some Cheerios going there. That's the kind of stuff that we're known for. And then the one that we did last week is I felt a little bit more fragile because of just, the way it was set up and built. So we pretty much tied that to the dog. And I think it's doing okay. I need to add a little bio gold to the other one. But that's what's going on there. I'm going to back up and show our work. Yesterday, we lost video feed, but we lost video feed a long time in, and I was wondering what was wrong, and I have no idea what it was. I think we just had a skip with our feed. I was wanting to see if I had too much data or something, and my phone was acting up. It was telling me that we had was nearing our capacity when that just wasn't true. An hour later, it showed that what I would have expected to see. So yeah, more gremlins, but the video was already long, so it was good. This is the final look at how that looked at the end of that show. Today's show, we're going to bring this guy where I'm standing now, and then we'll set the camera on the other side of that chair. There is about where it sits, and we'll do our show right here. And in this, we're going to have to do some prune back. I had one of our regulars was going, I think I'm looking forward to this. I'm not really sure. I like the tree the way it is now. I agree. But here's the thing. Minute by minute, day by day, week by week, it's changing. Everything changes. And at some point, you may see that it's not the same tree that you remembered. And maybe, so that's what this is. We have to go back and make a few changes to adapt our game, to keep the guy in. When I was looking back at some videos from where we had acquired the tree, I could see that those pads were even lighter than they are now after I went through and thinned the needles yesterday, and I still need to do some more, I think, on that bottom rung. But also we're going to go back and cut back a few of those branches, so the effect should be just a little bit sparser. Now, compared to what we are known for doing with our little trees, this kind of stuff, our Cheerios and the like, we're not going all full monkey with this guy. It could use a little bit more motion, and I do feel like it's probably lost some motion that it did have. but with that bottom starting to bark over, it might be that it might be that some doors are closing, or just things are about to get more difficult if we don't take advantage of it now. And this might be a good time to just put a little motion in it. And I see maybe lashing a bar in here down low, and then just kind of doing that, maybe 3 bends around the bar, and then lifting the bar out just to get just a little spiral going there. And then we're going to go back, and we have to go back and reshape our pads. So if we didn't do anything at all, we would see things, right? And we would see things getting more and more overgrown. So, yeah, and yeah, we need to both things. We love what it was, and we have to be ready and be adaptable, and try to keep the tree true to its keep the tree true to its literati, to its impression of a literati, and yeah. That's what's going. So I've been looking at a lot of literati stuff, and at some point, here's the thing. At some point, you look at some ideas and you go, "Oh, I really like that," but then you go back and you go, "That's not what kind of literati this is." So, yeah, keeping it within reason. That's my catch up. I knew that with what we were going to be doing to this tree, we weren't going to be seeing any follow up on these 2 guys. I wasn't going to be seeing any follow up on this guy for at least next week. And I thought, well, you haven't started dragging out all those toys. Take 15 minutes and show what happened here. This is actually a positive thing for me. This is not only is this something that I can deal with, but now at least I understand. I understand why the tree wasn't using up all this water, because that is retaining water like a son of a gun. So that is what's going on. Also, it's kind of cool pulling some of that, and this was just the loose stuff on top. It was kind of cool pulling some of that away from the base of the tree. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. I'm not really sure exactly how this one's going to drop in coordination with the rest of them, but it would also serve as a good little test to see how we were, if we were going to have any issues, and we did not, which is good. But yesterday's video, when we dropped on that one, it dropped after about 40 minutes. So we were, if you're shooting a video live for 40 minutes, something can, odds are something could happen. I appreciate you. Frida appreciates you, and thank you all so much for watching.